Diaz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm going to make my comments a lot briefer in light of many of the questions already being asked by Commissioner Moss. I want to say right off the bat, I don't think I have a conflict, but I do want to say that I participated in the design of Turkey Point many, many years ago. So long ago that Senator Soto asked me as he walked in today if I brought my slide rule. And that's what we used to use at the time, believe it or not. We had some computers, but they not exactly like the ones that we have today. I also am a member of the Sierra Club. I, again, don't think that's a conflict, through the chair, Mr. Attorney.
Well, while the ultimate authority for making conflict determinations is the Ethics Commission, as long as you're not on the board of the Sierra Club where you would have a fiduciary obligation, I believe historically the Commission on Ethics has said that just being a member of an organization is not in and of itself a conflict.
Very good, thank you. One correction and kind of to be sure on the record, at page 29 of what was 80 pages that you asked me to read through, and I tried to do my best, there's mention in testimony from one of the FPL folks, I believe Mr. Bullock, where he says, there are, this is at line 20, so there are some low quality exotic wetlands that would be impacted. I think the transcription probably was supposed to be so there are not, because that was someone arguing on behalf of FPL. And that is my question, Madam Chair. Are there, in fact, low-quality exotic wetlands that would be impacted or not? This is just a step.
Commissioner, to the extent that we were talking about the area that had been impacted in the past, along the margins of that impact, where it transitions from the fill pad down into the wetlands, you could probably consider those areas as not high quality. But by and large, the greater portion of these two sites that are proposed are in fact comprised of high-quality wetlands.
And so I understand the questioning and the answers to Commissioner Moss. Are we clear that there are, in fact, no upland sites that would be viable alternatives? Is that what the staff is telling us, or did I mishear? Because some of the opponents were saying that there are viable sites upland.
I don't know if there are actual upland sites between the two facilities. There could very well be. There's, when you do a jurisdictional determination, you go to the property, you look for the plant communities, the hydrology, and the soil type. So without doing an extensive search between the Turkey Point facility and the South Dade treatment plant, I wouldn't know if there are upland sites available. It's possible that there are, but we know that generally looking at those areas, there are certainly places that are jurisdictional wetlands that are of much lower quality than where they're proposing to impact, and in fact are not part of a mangrove protection area.
And then my final question, Madam Chair, I've heard testimony about 90 million gallons on a daily basis. I've heard of radially located, not really radial wells, but they're just located in a radial fashion. I've heard testimony that a certain amount of water is used for the cooling towers, which I presume are the primary cooling source of this power plant. And so I'm a little bit confused as to exactly how are we using, how are they proposing to use the water? Is it a secondary cooling system? And if so, secondary meaning for emergencies, and if so, why not use ocean water, which is the typical way? And I think that's the way Turkey Point was initially designed.
Commissioner, would you like me to answer the question?
Yes, please, staff.
Okay, the application at the state is for the use of 90 million gallons a day provided by the county. It's a reuse water facility. In other words, the county would provide 90 million gallons a day of reuse water to FPL. They would polish that water and then use that water as part of their in their primary cooling source in their cooling towers. So not like the existing.
So that would go into the cooling towers.
That would go into the cooling towers. The other volumes you've heard about, the 124 million gallons a day, that's the water that would be withdrawn from the radial collector wells if they had to switch from the reuse water to the radial collector wells. And because that water has more dissolved solids in it, it can't go through as many cycles of cooling as the fresher water that's coming through the reuse facility.
Okay, so one final question then. If it's to use in the cooling towers, unless I've totally forgotten my heat transfer equations, you're basically recycling the same water. You're not using 90,000 or 90 million gallons and then another 90 million gallons the next day and another 90 million gallons. You're basically recycling that through the system, are you not?
Well,
it's primary cooling.
Maybe we can get up and I'll explain it. My understanding of the cooling towers is that it is in fact 90 million gallons a day, and a lot of that is lost through evaporation, and then what ends up happening is after a number of cycles the water loses its efficiency, and so that water then is discharged to a deep well injection and refreshed with more fresh reuse water.
My question is answered. I forgot about evaporation. I'm sorry. Yes, I guess you lose most of it. In fact, that's the way you cool the waters, by evaporation. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.